So for the STEM Learning Business Package, this space is something that's new. It's certainly here. I hesitate to say it's up and coming, but I guess in a sense it is up and coming because I don't think that we have even scratched the surface of how big this space is going to end up being. This particular business model and again, you're the entrepreneur. You can change anything you want because this is not franchise. This is what you want to do. So you can mold this and form this however you want. The idea behind this package, what we think is a good idea, is a combination of a few things. So the coronavirus changed our world and made distance learning mainstream almost overnight. So with that, I think that there's a humongous opportunity. So, I mean, you go to the sample website, you got your after school program, you got your weekend program, you got your summer day camp. And this website was built pre-coronavirus. And I think that all these things will be relevant once again, no question. But I think that the unique opportunity in this space in particular that is now universally accepted is distance learning. You could do an online class where you sign up, you get the supplies, the kid gets the supplies in the mail, and then you walk through whatever it is, whatever the lesson is for that day. You walk through it over the internet, and you have reduced your overhead expense. I mean, you could do all of the above. You could do online only. You could do the classroom setting only. But when you go, the options that are out there now are unique because you can form this however it fits for you. If you want a bigger facility, you want to have the kids come to you, you can do what's on the sample website. You could also throw in the distance learning as an added component, or you could ditch everything that's on the website and you could do this package exclusively as a distance learning. And then the whole country is in your backyard now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is something that, like you said, the coronavirus has definitely made major game change in terms of how people are learning. Absolutely. And I think that especially something that's focusing, so much on science and math and things that really are the future and that maybe traditional education is kind of underserved. I think that's going to be something that parents, grandparents, really anybody is going to be wanting kids to get into these programs so that they're more familiar with the way the future is progressing.
Yeah, and so they're employable. I mean, that's a huge thing is just to have a few basic skills that maybe you don't need a college degree for. You're certainly not going to learn this stuff in public schools until there's a major overhaul, which who knows when that's coming. Some school districts have come a long way with doing this, but as far as that being a mainstream idea in the United States of America in the immediate future, forget it. I've got an almost 17-year-old, I've got an almost 13-year-old, I've got an 11-year-old, and I've got a 4-year-old. Maybe by the time my 4-year-old is in middle school, high school era, they'll get it together and they'll offer some kind of a program that gives kids some real skills in these areas at that point in time. But for my oldest 3, I just don't count on it. That's going to be me to figure out how to facilitate that for them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's kind of the new norm, parents taking a more assertive role in the development and education of their children. And I think that one challenge that on the consumer side of this that exists is that the folks out there that are trying to offer educational services, things like that, they maybe don't have a website. They don't have a platform to connect with people. They don't have something for the parents to review and verify and gain a sense of what the program offers. And so I think with these business tools, that's going to enable someone who's interested in this to just get right down to work. They have everything they need infrastructure-wise, the bones are there, and then they can just hit the ground running, focus on, program development. Like you said, whether it's remote learning or in person, they can just, focus on the nitty-gritty, or both, yeah. And, sky's really the limit as far as where you can take this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, that's the nice thing about these ready-to-launch business packages is not only do we show you how to set the infrastructure up, how to just get a bare-bones setup up, we show you how to fill all that in. And not just for a startup. I mean, the startup series obviously reviews how to start up, but it also reviews long-term how to run your company. This is a resource for you to keep coming back to consult on changes that need to be made and growth that can happen. And so you get all that, you get the infrastructure of the website, you get the payment processing platforms, You get briefed on how to use this stuff. You get your client management system. For this package in particular, you get set up with the class management system. So you can publish a class. You can say, I have 10 openings or 15 openings or 20 openings for this class on this day. It's going to be virtually held. It's $100 per child. And then you advertise that link, and then people go through, do a registration, they pay on the platform, you get the money deposited in your account. I mean, it's really a slick system where you don't have to go do all this research and all this homework on how to get this set up, or hire the developers, or we've already done all this for you. We've already tested all these systems for you. So we will get this 100% set up so you're ready to go on day one. Now, you've worked under our business methodology. Tell me how our way of doing things has impacted your life.
Well, it's improved my life in many different ways. I've learned to, operate in business more efficiently, more strategically, with a greater focus on win-win outcomes, where the business is profiting, but the, clients and customers are happy. So it's been a very enriching process, and I've learned a lot from you guys. You guys have that entrepreneurial spirit that just makes for good business, and so it's been just an absolute pleasure working with you guys.
And now, what about financially? How would you say your situation is different?
Well, it's been enormously personally rewarding, financially rewarding. We've been able to do things we never imagined being able to do just a few years before. Your unique approach to business has enabled us to, be more profitable than our competitors. We've had a better work-life balance, I think, than most people who, even get close to approaching our income threshold. So I think really, as rewarding as something could be, it has been for us.
Now, do you feel like our way of doing things has profitability advantages over traditional ways of doing business?
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. I think you can, tell just by our history of growth. We, I think, are willing to adapt our business strategies, fill any niche role that's out there, and just, capitalize on things that other businesses aren't even aware of. So, yeah, I think we, have had a much greater level of success than our competitors, with more profitability and oftentimes less busy work.
Yeah, certainly. And I think too, with the startup series goes over all sorts of that kind of stuff. And just the ways that we've been luckily forced to adapt and learn how to do things with less staff and, more technology based or more efficiency based, just really picking things apart down to the typing of emails or not. Stuff like that makes a huge difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Breaking things down to their kind of constituent components, seeing what you absolutely have to have, what's not necessary, and then putting your energy behind what drives, maximum productivity and profitability. And I think that's been where we've had a lot of our success.
Now, Justin, what would you say to someone who is thinking about buying one of these business packages, but is maybe nervous about starting a business from scratch instead of going with a more expensive traditional franchise, or maybe nervous about something else with starting a business?
Well, I would say that, now is a very good time, I think, for someone to look at starting their own business. And I think, when you're weighing these options, say in comparison to a more expensive franchise, I think the flexibility that's afforded, because you still own and have control of your own business, I think
Absolutely.
that's huge. I think that's why a lot of people start a business. They don't want to have to report to someone and curtail their goal and operations based on the direction of somebody else. So I think you get all of those benefits. But I think the other thing that's, a major advantage is that it is lower cost. You're not paying a percentage of your income for an indefinite period. You just have the ability to take a proven model, to adapt it to your specific situation, to be given all the tools to implement your strategy and your goals, and to achieve it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. As an entrepreneur myself, obviously, that started several businesses, when I look back over what worked really well and what did not work really well, it's the unknowns that are waiting out there to just, grab you by the foot and trip you up. And that's really what I think makes businesses fail. I think there's probably two major things that make businesses fail. Number one is not knowing a system and process that's proven for success, which it takes a while to get there. And then number two is just these pitfalls that every single entrepreneur will face at some point in time or another. And having the startup series as a guide to continually reference back to me, makes all the difference in the world compared to somebody that does not have that resource. And business consultants are really, really, really expensive. It's a good way to, especially when you're in the startup phases, that's a good way to really drain profitability, is having to call somebody and pay them by the hour every time you have a question, rather than just referencing a resource that you've got on your computer.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you're getting basically a veteran business model that works,
Yeah.
and you're able to use that from the get-go. So, I mean, it's like, taking the Microsoft model when you're starting a software company. It's as good a start as you could have.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining me here and going over these business packages. And, for you guys there thinking about this, you can submit on our website or you can give us a call at 844-500-6620 and speak with a business launching consultant. Again, that's 844-500-6620. Thanks so much.